Hi, this is Bruce Buffer, your voice of the Octagon, and you're listening to MMA Mental.
I am now joined by Wendell Nice Guy Lewis. Wendell has a pro record of 6-2, and he's due to take part in a 4-man tournament on March the 7th, Godsley Arena 2. Wendell, thank you very much for joining me.
No problem, pleasure.
Before we talk about this tournament, and I want to get your takes on the other guys in the tournament and what you know how you feel your chances are in the tournament. I want to talk to you a little bit about your background. So you've been involved as a professional fighter since December 2009. What got you into mixed martial arts?
I've pretty much been a martial artist since I was 7, so that we're talking 91. I started off with karate and then kickboxing, boxing for a good few years. Then I stumbled across wrestling. I think it was, I was watching the Olympics one year. I can't remember which year it was, but one of the 90s. And I was just attracted by it. So I did my research. I met a submission wrestling coach. His name was Rob Solsky. He was my first kind of experience with wrestling and submissions mixed together. And the rest was history from there. He just took me under his wing, showed me a couple of bits and pieces, and I went on to meet another coach, Jess Liadon, French coach. And he also took me under his wing, and he gave me my first semi-pro fight, 2005. And I literally sunk my teeth into that and got stuck in, and that was it. I knew that was the path I wanted to take. I wanted to fight professionally and see how far I could take it.
So you said there you took your first amateur fight in 2005. So you fought, you took a few years before you went pro then. So why did it take so long before you went pro? Did you feel you weren't ready, or?
Oh no, it was just at the time I would have been about 21, 22. I was in uni, working, and I also, as many fighters could probably attest to, this isn't a sport yet where you can rely on just fighting. You need to have something else in the background. So I was in uni, and I also wanted to become a teacher, like teach the arts and stuff. So I was studying for my personal training qualification as well. So I did take some time out in order to complete my studies, and then once that was done, I got back involved with training and stuff and decided to turn pro then.
Something else I wanted to pick up on there as well. You mentioned there about you started off in martial arts young, and then you found submission wrestling. How did you find the transition from doing, what predominantly was a stand-up part of the sport to doing the ground?
I struggled with it. I must admit, it's striking. With my background, relies on space, or giving yourself some space and room to maneuver, whereas grappling was all about sticking as close as you can to somebody and not literally giving them any room to maneuver. So for a little while I struggled with it, but thankfully my coaches and teammates, both past and present, they persevered with me. And it's become, almost second nature now. I've developed my own style within the style, if that makes sense.
It's worth noting as well. It's always interesting to speak to people, especially if you come from a stand-up background. Were you surprised at how effective the ground side of the game is when you first started doing it?
No, I wasn't. I from both a self-defense point of view and for competition, I was watching grapplers, in particular wrestlers, how they like the old school Vale Tudo tournaments that they would have when the likes of Mark Kerr and Coleman would be around, and even some other guys. What's his name? Forgotten his first name, but his surname was Kevin Jackson. That crowd that would come from directly from wrestling and then dip their feet in the whole MMA world. I wasn't shocked at how they were able to get somebody to the floor and then control them. It was just maybe the only shocking part was actually being put in these holes myself and realizing that once you are put in these holes and controlled, there isn't really much of a way out, to be fair. And then you couple that with jiu-jitsu on top of it, and yeah, it was just a whole new world of martial arts that's taken a little while to get to grips with, but we get there. We got there in the end.
Now, I was looking over, doing a bit of research, looking over your record, and you've put together a good record. You're 6-2. You've had a lot of fights in UCMMA, which of course is one of the biggest promotions in the UK, especially with the history of cage rage and things like that. So, what are some of your personal highlights in your early career? In your career so far, sorry.
Okay, personal highlights. I think the first time I fought for Dave on UCMMA, that would have to be a highlight, definitely, because myself and a very close friend of mine, we used to go to the shows as fans almost. We used to look, even though at the time I was semi-pro, we were still attending these shows, and I still have vision of one day fighting in the cage instead of paying money to come and watch other people do what I want to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the first time that I managed to fight for Dave, thankfully, I won by knockout as well, on top of the fact that I was fighting in front of a home crowd. So, yeah, that was pretty much a highlight. Well, one of my highlights, definitely. Being able to fight in London in front of family and friends that weren't able to get to other fights because they were outside of London.
Enough as well to go to the Troxy and see some of the events, and the atmosphere there is always brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's lovely. He really knows how to put or mesh entertainment with fights. That was the one thing that you feel when you do fight on UCMMA is you get the it's an intimate crowd. There's probably only about 2,000 capacity, so it's fairly small on the grander scale of things. But the atmosphere there, yeah, it's something. Everybody, even the fans that come to watch you, they feel it and feel kind of special by just being there.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's a good show to fight on, definitely.
Now, you're taking part in Gods of the Arena 2. You're in a 4-man tournament for a chance to become the champion of the promotion. Other names in there with you are Adam Bousif, Tommy Gunn, and David Round. What are your views on the other guys that you're going to be competing against on the night?
This may sound. I hope it doesn't sound big-headed, but I haven't really researched too much. I mean, I know of Tommy Gunn. I know of his record. I know of Adam Bousif because I think we have a common opponent in Leon Edwards. Unfortunately, we both bloody lost to him. But yeah, we do have him in common. Yeah, so there's and Dave Round. I have heard of him as well. But I haven't really delved too much into what they're about, not as yet anyway, because it's a tournament and you don't really know who you're first to draw up against, and then you don't know whether they have changed their style from what you're watching to what you may be faced with in the ring. So I'm aware of them, and I have respect for all three other combatants in the tournament, but I haven't really researched too much into what they're about. Not as yet, anyway.
It's quite interesting because obviously you and Adam have got very similar records. You're 6-2, he's 5-2.
Yeah.
You've got Tommy who's 2-1, but then you've got David. He's obviously got a few losses on his record, but he's also got a lot of wins and he's very experienced. He's 13-11, so there's a real good kind of mix of it makes it look like a very competitive field. What are your thoughts as well on fighting twice on the same night?
I think that's what made me decide to get involved in it. It's a challenge, and it reminds me of the old school MMA tournaments that used to take place back in the late or mid '90s, where you'd fight one time, have to recover, and then go back in and fight again. So yeah, considering that my background is more tournament based, I thought, let me get involved and see, what happens. I quite like the fact of competing more than once in the evening.
I think it's hard for a lot of people to imagine, but if you go right back to the old days of the UFC, this is what the UFC was built on. It was all one night tournaments. It was like that for years, wasn't it? Until they changed it. Probably like it for close to 7 years before they decided to get rid of the tournament. So it's a bit of a throwback, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's definitely what attracted me to it. I mean, my first experiences with MMA was watching. I think it's called the Ultimate Combat. Ultimate Combat. This had guys like Conan Silveira, Kevin Jackson in there, and some other wrestlers and sambo guys, Igor Sinoviev, and all that crowd. And they used to come out and fight maybe 3 times in the same evening, and I was just in awe of these guys, and how tough they were in order to come out after being maybe bruised up in the first round, and then competing for God knows how long in finals and stuff. So it was at that time that I questioned myself and I wonder whether I can do the same, with the appropriate training and stuff. So 10 years later, I get presented with an opportunity. Definitely, I'm going to grab it with both hands, and see what I'm about come March the 7th.
Now, we're about 3 odd weeks out from the event. I think we're just working out in my head. About 3 weeks away. Why should people buy tickets to come and see this event and see this tournament?
Oh my God, I can't speak for the other guys, but I have this thing about me where, yes, I like to win, but I also like to impress and perform because after all, the crowd is watching. So I don't necessarily want to just win. I want to entertain, and I seem to be good at that. Whether I be on the winning side or on the losing side of a fight, once I'm on the card, you can guarantee there'll be some sort of fireworks. So yeah, definitely. I urge people grab hold of your tickets, head down. It will be an action-packed evening of events, especially the tournament.
Wendell, I really appreciate you giving me your time. Before we let you go, I just want to give you a chance to do any shout-outs. Is there anyone you want to thank? I know there's a lot of people probably helping you get ready for this fight. And also shout out any social media you've got.
Okay, you can follow me on WKL84 on Twitter. I've also got the Facebook under my name, Wendell Lewis. But more importantly, my shout-outs must go to my coaches. So that's Jude Samuel, my wrestling coach, Damien, and my coach, stroke cornerman, stroke close friend of mine, Ashley Grimshaw. I've got to shout these 3 people out in particular because they've really helped to shape my game and given me back my competitive edge and stuff, and supported me both inside the gym and on the outside as well. So and of course to the rest of my teammates, thank them all for being there for me and helping to sharpen my game. Definitely.
Well, I'll be there on the night, and I can't wait to see how the tournament plays out.
Me too.
I'm now joined by David one more round. David is taking part in a 4-man tournament to become a champion at Gods of the Arena on March the 7th. David, thank you very much for joining me.
That's okay.
Before we talk about what's coming up, I just want to talk to you a little bit about your background. Now, you've been fighting in mixed martial arts professionally since 2009. I just want to know what got you into the sport.
Well, I've always loved the sport since I'd say I was about 7 or 8. My father was in the Navy and back from America, so it was, I think UFC 2 or 3 on video. So it all had started from about then, really. I've always watched boxing and combat sports and stuff like that, so I've been interested in it for a long time.
Now, you've been fighting for a long time, and it's worth noting as well. I mean, of this tournament, you are the fighter with the most experience. So talk a little bit about some of your fights. What are some of your own personal highlights? You've got a lot of wins on your record. What are some of your own personal highlights?
Well, I think that my best achievement was the heavyweight tournament 2 years ago in Denmark, in Valhalla, where I lost in the final. Knocking out Lee Cahoon was a big fight to win for me, and the Barmer show was always good to fight on, and it was a big part of my career to fight for them.
Now, you've took part in quite a few tournaments. How do you feel that's going to help you going into this tournament?
I'm the king of the tournaments, they say. This will be my 4th tournament coming up now, and I've been there before and I've won one, lost 2 finals, so I've always got to the final. So for me, it's just another night.
So talking a little bit about the event then. Let's talk about the guys that are in the tournament with you. Of course, you've got yourself on there. You've got Wendell Lewis, Adam Bousif, and Tommy Gunn. What do you know about your opponents?
From what I know, Wendell Lewis and Adam Bousif have got a pretty decent background and I've got a bit of experience. Tommy Gunn is a gangster's firearm, and that's all I know about him. But no, I've got more wins than all their fights put together. That's without including my losses. So, to be honest, I'm not really concerned about anyone who I face in the tournament.
And I mean, obviously, you've fought at different weight classes. What's it like as well, fighting at a smaller weight class rather than fighting up at heavyweight? It's
hard. I was big, I was tall, but then the diet is different. When I went to heavyweight, I was on the Burger King diet, basically eating Burger King. Then I wanted, and any time I wanted, it was great. Now I have to not so much moderate what I eat, but I can have some luxuries.
Now, there's obviously some real good fights on the card, and this tournament, of course, is one of the biggest features on the card. If people are looking at coming to this event, what could you say to convince them to get a ticket to come and see these fights?
Well, I'm fighting on it. That's one of the main reasons. Then, when you come to a show, if I'm on it, I always deliver a exciting fight and entertain the crowd and put on fights for the crowd. So, if you see me on a poster or see me on a bill, then anyone can turn up to see it.
Well, I really appreciate you giving me your time. I was looking forward to getting a chance to chat with you, and I'm going to be at the event. I'm looking forward to the fights as well. But before we let you go, should we give you a chance to do any shout-outs? Anyone you want to thank? And also shout out your social media?
Yeah, Chris Clark, my manager, the fight agency. I've been with him now since just before New Year's, and he's brilliant from what he's done in the short space of time we've been working together. He's done more than I expected. Granite Hall, J-Line, Chris, Impact, LPA, the sponsorship. Newport MMA training, Cleary Combat with Jack Marshman, and Rad over in Swansea, who trains me every day. And that's about it. And
you want to let listeners know as well how they can follow you on social media?
At David one more, David _one more on Twitter, and my Facebook page, David one more round. My fan page on there.
I really appreciate you giving me your time. I look forward to, can't wait to see you step into the cage and on the March the 7th in Essex.
I know, I'm not sure I have a photo with the belt with you. After I've knocked out whoever it is I need to knock out on the night, and if they need me to, I'll go and fight in the main event and fight the middleweight champion. Because that's my plan, is to win this title and then go back and take on the middleweight champion.
I'm now joined by Makunga Banduku. Makunga is going to be fighting on Saturday the 7th of March at Gods of the Arena against Curtis Widmer for the championship title. Makunga, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
My pleasure. Now, I've been looking over your record. You're currently 6-1. Let's talk a little bit about your background before we talk about your fight or your up and coming fight. So, you started fighting professionally in May 2012. What got you into mixed martial arts?
I got into it by accident. My friend Stephen Johnson and Aaron Atkins must have took the first jiu-jitsu class, and they asked me to give it a go. You got to try it. You're gonna love it. It's sick. You got to try it. And I was hesitant at first, and they just persistent, and they kept on asking. So I gave it a go, and I've never looked back. I fell in love with jiu-jitsu. Never looked back, to be honest. And that was the start of my MMA, like me doing MMA, and then from jiu-jitsu, started doing a bit of boxing with Spencer's brother Ross. And then I started competing in MMA. All I had is tiny bit of boxing and a tiny bit of jiu-jitsu. I I showed natural talent, and that was about it. And then, bumped into my Thai coach, started doing Thai wrestling, and then just trying to make myself a all-round MMA fighter. I didn't really start until I was young, I was old, should I say. I didn't start the game until I was like 25 when I first started doing jiu-jitsu. I'm 30 now, so it's been a baptism of fire, but I've really enjoyed every moment of it. It helps me wake up and makes me breathe when I'm in there. It takes all my stress away. I really enjoy being in the gym and just being with my family and friends, to be honest, because the people in the gym, I spend more time with them than I do with probably most of my friends and family. So yeah, they are my friends and family, I suppose.
How long did you train before you took your first professional fight?
I think it was like 2 years before I took my first amateur. I'd had 2 amateur fights, and then I went straight to professional.
You went straight in at UCMMA as well, which is, of course, one of the biggest promotions on the UKC.
That was my first professional fight in UCMMA.
What was it like fighting under that banner? Because obviously, it's fair to say it's quite a well-known promotion, and it's very charismatically run. Of course, used to run Cage Rage. What's it like being part of UCMMA?
To be honest, I'm not really a person that gets nervous. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm not really a nervous kind of person, because my hard work is already done before I get into the cage. So the way I see it, all is in God's hand. I'm a great believer in God, and I'm a great believer that this is the path He chose for me. I didn't choose this, like I said. I found it by total accident. So as for worries and fears and nervous, I don't really feel no nervous. I do always say a prayer before I fight, as most people can see. I get on my bending knees, and the only thing I ask for is not to win or anything like that. I get on my bending knees. I just ask my Father to guide and protect me, and and that's it. We touch gloves and we get it on, and that's my firm belief. I'm not nervous because God's with me at all times.
Now, I know you said about the doing the jiu-jitsu, and it's fair to say by looking at your records, you can tell that you've got a jiu-jitsu background. You've won 6 fights, 4 of them by submission. What's your you've had 3 guillotines. Is that your favourite type of finish?
No, I just end up finding it. I don't know why. I'm not going to tell you my favourite finish because that'd be silly on me. But it's not a joke. I just end up finding it because people always, neglect their head, I suppose. Being from a jiu-jitsu background, I've always got told when someone does grab your neck to protect your neck, most people are just too worried about everything else, and you do pretty much set up a guillotine from almost anywhere, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I'd never go to that, I never go looking for something. If I find it, I'm grabbing it. That is my aim. That's my whole aim of jiu-jitsu. If I see it, I'm taking it. So I'm never going to sort of go in there and think, I'm going to finish him with guillotine, I'm going to finish him with guillotine. Because, I'm going to be working all day for a guillotine and I'm never going to get it. So I'm always open-minded. But I always, and even my coach always tells me, you always get this in the gym, how come you never get it into a fight? And I say, it will happen when it happens, innit? Because I always got, I'm not going to say what it is, but I have got a favourite submission, which I always training and inspiring jiu-jitsu, MMA, I always get it. I've just never got it into a fight yet, but like I told Spencer, one day I will, and he's going to laugh. But yeah, I don't know why. I just seem to get guillotined. I don't know why. No chance.
Have you? You've got 6 wins under your record. Have you got a favourite victory from those 6 wins?
Favourite victory? Not really, because most of them I knew I'm going to win anyway. I know it sounds big-headed or whatever, but as a fighter, you've got to be confident going in there, knowing you're going to win anyway, if that makes any sense. So, no, I haven't got a favourite victory. They're all sweet at each other, but I'm pissed off on my losses, but as a favourite victory, no, not really.
Now, this is Gods of Arena's second event. You headlined their first event. What was it like to headline that? Very, not nervous, but I don't really like headlining or finishing at the last or coming at the end, because I like to enjoy the whole vibe and go and see the rest of the fights and etc. So as for sort of
being the last event, I don't really like that as personally. I know people say it's a great honour and etc. But yes, it is a great honour, and I'm thankful. But I don't really like closing. I just don't like it. Being right at the end.
Now I know we've got an event coming up, like I say, it's in a few weeks. It's March the 7th in Essex. Now you're facing Curtis Widmer. What do you know about your opponent?
I've watched him fight. I've seen a couple of his fights on YouTube, and I have watched him fight on UCMMA. We did fight on the same card once upon a time, and very good fighter, very aggressive. I think he's going to be one of my strongest opponents up to date, to be honest. Like in my opinion, from what I've seen, he doesn't look like a slack on the floor. He don't slack on stand up. So, his wrestling looks really strong. He does look like an all-round good opponent. So, yeah, it should be a good fight. I think this is going to be my toughest opponent yet. So, this might be my favourite victory, if you ask me this time, after my fight.
Now, it's this show's obviously being run by Cage Warriors and UCMMA veterans, Spencer Hewitt. It's a stacked card. There's some good tournaments on the card. Obviously, you're headlining the card. Why should people get a ticket and come and watch these fights?
Because they're always great events, like I always tell people about MMA events. They're always great events, always good cards. And with an MMA fight, like you would know yourself, you never know who's going to win. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. It could be a kick, it could be a punch, it could be an elbow, it could be a submission. So there's never an underdog in an MMA fight. I hate that when they say it's an underdog. There's never an underdog because anything can happen in this game. Anything. So just don't blink.
Well, I really appreciate you giving me your time, and good luck for your up-and-coming fight.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Right, my pleasure. Before I let you go, I just want to give you a chance to do any shout-outs. If there's anyone you want to thank, shout out your social media as well.
Yeah, you can follow me at Makunga MMA Twitter account, and that is MAKUNGA MMA at the end. I would like to thank Spencer Hewitt, Ross Hewitt, Jez Lord, Mark Walder. I would like to thank Pre-Logical Recruitment. I would like to thank Be Secure, Mossy, James Moss. I would like to thank my mum, my dad, God himself, how can I forget? And everyone who come to support me all these years. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Please come and support me, show your love. And I'm bringing it home to the Digger Dagger fan all the way. Digger Dagger, Digger Dagger. Oi, oi, oi.
Well, I'll be there Saturday, March 7th. I can't wait to come and see you fight.
Thank you very much.